first went to England and started singing with Pat, there wasn't much opening for contemporary stuff unless you had a record, so you had to sing cabaret.
Right.
Then cabaret, we went into recording and it changed again. I've tried to grow and stretch a little bit each time I've made an album, which is usually when I get the chance to try out new material. And I'm getting braver and braver. Hopefully, I'll go crazy the next one.
Yeah. But you went into, especially with Grease, you went back to sort of almost the roots of your own music, of going into sort of a more gutsy rock and roll, you know?
Yeah. In the Go Show, though, I generally used to sing the ballads. I wasn't really, I mean, I wanted to, but I didn't really have the confidence to do much of the really funky stuff.
Right.
But now I'm getting the confidence and I really love doing it, you know, and John gives me the chance to try out all different kinds of styles.
Right. Over the last 10 years, how do you personally view the 70s music?
I think the biggest influence, I think the black music has been the biggest kind of influence on the now sound of the 70s, which I love. And Stevie Wonder probably is one of the strongest influences, but it's been longer than the 70s even, but he's sort of...
Well, it's strange. I mean, when we talk about, you know, particular influences, do you think Stevie Wonder has been an influence on 70s music?
Oh, I'm sure he has. He and his contemporaries. The Bee Gees. I think the people that would go down in the 70s would have to be the Bee Gees. The Beatles will always stay there. I think they'll transcend the next 30 years.
Going back into the turn of the 70s, it was sort of not really thought of that sort of singers like yourself and Midler would be doing films, you know, combining the two sort of together. I mean, do you think that's been important?
This one that I'm doing now is John Farrah's doing the music, half of the music, and Jeff Lynne from the LO's doing the other half. So the music is incredible. I mean, it's fantastic. This is the start. I think this could be the start of a whole spate of them if it's accepted. And the music is very, very contemporary. In Greece, which is really the biggest. Saturday Night Fever. Okay, Saturday Night Fever in Greece. Why did I forget Saturday Night Fever? I don't know where I was.
Well, take Greece, for instance. In Greece, and it's funny, I mean, a lot of music writers that we've interviewed, you know, including the Elton Johns and the Paul McCartneys and that, say that it'll go back to rock and roll and it'll go back to lyrics, boy meets girl sort of thing. Now, Greece, even though it was sort of 50s music, but it was updated, was all of that, really, wasn't it?
When it's girl, boy loses girl, wins it back. It's the same story.
Now, when you first saw the script of that, did you think it was slightly smolchy?
No, because I saw the stage show in London about 8 years ago. Well, actually, it's 9 years ago, I think, when it just came out, and I remembered it and I loved it. So, and I liked the music, and it was instant. It was an instant gut feeling that it was the right thing to do. I loved it.
Right, now, Olivia Newton-John for the 80s.
For the 80s. Well, the beginning of the 80s will be this new movie called Xanadu that I'm doing, which is a fantasy again, much more fantasy than Grease even, with even more contemporary music and a chance to stretch a little bit in acting, which is really what I like to do more of.
More albums?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Not really, no, but it's sort of.
Go. Olivia Newton-John. Got the roll number. And cue.
Well, we're about to go into the 80s, and the last 10 years have been pretty hectic time for you. How do you sort of, first of all, look over your own career over the last 10 years?
It's been phenomenal, really exciting, and I think more has happened to me in the last 4 years than before that, but it's been a culmination of all the years before. It's been fantastic. The next 10 years are as good as this one. It'll be great.
Right. Now, when you first left Australia, I mean, prior to that, in the 60s, you've been doing, you know, a lot of rock and roll material, and especially on the Go Show, and working with people like Johnny Farrah. Then you went into sort of a more country type of thing, and then as the years rolled by, and especially when you come to Greece, it went back to that real rock and roll thing. How do you sort of view your own career of musically, like the step-by-steps that you've taking it right back to the, you know, the early 70s?
When I first started, it was really folk singing in a nightclub, and then
all right.
And roll.
Now, how important has film been, do you think, and video to the 70s, as far as linking rock music to people?
I don't know about film so much, television. Film, there hasn't been all that many. I think Greece to a certain extent, but rather limited because it was 50s music anyway.
Right.
But television, definitely, yeah. And radio airplay, which is getting wider and wider all the time, and you can listen to any kind, in America anyway, you can listen to any kind of music. It's incredible. I mean, every station has their own format, and if you feel like rock or you feel like jazz or country music or soul, you have that choice.
Right, now, when we go back to film, I mean, like...
And, oops. I think they just got to come over here and show them, because there's some wonderful singers there. Right. Really fabulous.
And John Farrow, I mean, it must have been a great buzz for you to sort of a friend of yours to be tied up with Grease and have such equal success with yourself, really.
John is a genius. I mean, I always knew he was talented and brilliant, but he's got so much talent, it's frightening. He's really incredible. And have you heard any of the new music?
Yeah.
It's wonderful, it really is.
Well, so thanks for being on the show again.
Pleasure.
And we wish you all the luck in the 80s.
Thank you. I play a muse, and a muse was a character in Greek mythology who was supposed to grant people wishes and dreams, and they have that power. So what I can tell you about the story is that I come down in modern times to grant a young man his dream. We fall in love, which is something which is forbidden. That's the basis of the story. I think musicals are coming back because I think people want to escape and they want to be entertained. And I think I'm just very lucky that I'm in this era, because it's something I've always wanted to do, and I've held out to do that kind of film, and it just had the right qualities. I can't really explain it. It was just an instinct that I had, but there's more onus on me this time than there was in Greece. I didn't feel as much pressure, I suppose, as I will in this one.
A place where nobody dared to go. The love that we came to know, they call it Xanadu. And now, open your eyes and see what we have made is real. We are in Xanadu.
spots in Hollywood is a place called the Bistro. What we're going to do right now is take you inside this very exclusive establishment, upstairs to the private room where a very big star named Olivia Newton-John is having a very exclusive and private party celebrating the first day of shooting on her new movie. So, come along. Well, they obviously didn't wait for me to get the party started, but I see they at least ate some food and a drink or two. Tell me something that I don't know if a lot of people understand. When you have a party like this, what's the purpose of this, really?
What? The purpose of having it here?
Of having this kind of party. I mean, it's the first day of shooting. Publicity-wise, it's a long, long time before the picture's on the screen. What can you gain from this?
I guess they want to introduce everybody to the idea, and I don't think there has been much publicity about the film up till now. This is like the first major announcement about it, and it's just to get it started, I guess. Yeah. I don't get involved in all that part of it. I just like the party.
Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention that Olivia's new movie is called Xanadu, an exotic word that means Pleasure Dome Utopia. You're going to create a musical utopia on film?
Kind of. I can't tell you the story, unfortunately, but it just has some great ingredients. I mean, to be able to work with Gene Kelly is such an incredible pleasure.
And Gene Kelly hasn't given anyone the pleasure for over 10 years. But the movie musical master who goes back to American in Paris, Singing in the Rain, and many others had his reasons for such a long absence from the screen.
To be frank with you, it's serious. I haven't done any real work in movies since my wife passed away, and I've raised 2 kids. And why I'm working now is that they're teenagers. And last year, my daughter started a high school. She's at Marymount. My boy's at Loyola at 15, 17, and now I can go out and make a few bucks again.
I heard some rumor that in this movie, besides singing and dancing, you're going to roller skate. Is that true?
Yeah, but I've done that in other movies. That's nothing new.
That's true. You have.
Yeah, sure. Always fair weather.
Always fair weather?
Yeah. I did roller skating.
Years later, with his famous smile still well intact, Gene Kelly is likely to show his young co-stars, Olivia Newton-John and Michael Beck, what roller disco really means.